Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Queen's Park. I'm certainly excited to be back and ready to roll my sleeves up and get to work. Before I begin today, I'd just like to acknowledge that my gratitude for being able to meet on the Treaty 13 lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, and to just reaffirm the Ontario Green Party's commitment to the truth and reconciliation process. I'm excited to get back to Queen's Park, and my one message to Doug Ford is to do your job. We are experiencing the biggest healthcare crisis of our generation, and the Premier has been AWOL throughout the summer in failing to get it done when it comes to addressing the healthcare crisis in this province. Over 2 years ago, the Ontario Greens put forward a plan to recruit and retain nurses and other frontline healthcare workers to address the health human resource crisis that we're facing. And so when the Premier reintroduces the budget this week, we are demanding that the Premier repeals Bill 124 and enables nurses and other frontline healthcare workers to negotiate the fair wages and benefits they deserve. The bottom line is a 1% cap on wages and benefits when inflation is at over 8% is a pay cut to frontline healthcare heroes who are overworked, underpaid, and underappreciated by this government. Second, we are facing a cost of living crisis that is affecting the most vulnerable in our communities the most. People simply cannot afford to live in legislated poverty. And I renew my call to the Premier to double ODSP rates so that people with disabilities no longer live in legislated poverty, can afford the skyrocketing cost of living that's affecting so many families and people in our communities, but especially the most vulnerable, and to address the housing crisis. You know, we've seen a cooling of the home ownership market, but rents continue to skyrocket. Minimum wage and low-wage workers, people on social assistance, young professionals cannot afford to pay rent in most cities across this province. We need the Premier to end exclusionary zoning and to invest in building the affordable housing that people need in order to be able to live in the communities where they work, they play, and they want to raise their families. And finally, we can't forget that food inflation and the climate crisis are intimately linked. The droughts, the extreme weather events, the heat we're experiencing right now, the fact that the world is literally on fire as we speak, highlights the need for the Premier to make a commitment to protecting the farmland that feeds us, the nature that protects us, and ensuring that our communities are climate ready. And he can start by doing that by saying no highways will be built in the Greenbelt, that the Premier will stand up and permanently protect prime farmland in this province and the nature that protects us from this extreme heat that we're all experiencing right now. So I say to the Premier, you campaigned on a pledge to get it done. You have failed to do that this summer. It's time to get to work, and it starts by addressing the healthcare crisis we're facing, the inflation and cost of living crisis we're facing, and the climate emergency that is here.